Brandon Graham. BG is a Philadelphia Eagle once again. Always has been, always will be, never will not be. But he's back for the 2025 season as he comes out of retirement, going against the New York Giants, heading into the bye week. Now, everybody believes that our edge room has been figured out. It's solved. Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. This is not a signing by the Philadelphia Eagles or a return by Brandon Graham for improving the play of the edge room. This in particular is a signing and a return to enhance the locker room, to bring some veteran leadership on this defense, because this defense desperately needs a veteran who can get these guys in line. Now, you would think guys like Zach Bond would be able to step up and be the veteran presence that you would need. Or guys like Azeez Ojulari or Josh Uche. But you know what? Respect to Zach Bond because he's excellent. He's not like a true Eagle. Right? He just got here last season. Played excellent, by the way. Has been playing pretty good football for the most part. But is not like a full-time Eagle. I know he got drafted here and all that jazz, and he had a stint here. Understood. But like Brandon Graham's an Eagle, right? Just like Fletcher Cox was an Eagle. Lane Johnson's an Eagle. Guys like that got pedigree and cachet with Philadelphia, they can come and be the... Brandon Graham's one of those guys. He's a Philadelphia Eagle. And bringing in a guy like BG, not only in just the defensive locker room and the locker room as a whole, but particularly this defensive line, you need some veteran leadership. We talked about it when Zadarius Smith was here, some veteran presence here to teach these guys how to prepare and just nuances in the game. Brandon Graham can come in here, not only bring good vibes, but bring some leadership to this damn front seven because they desperately need it, because we see all season long the inconsistent play that we get from this unit. Now, issues on the defense might be a little overblown considering the fact that almost every game outside of the Giants game, we've held teams to under 25 points for the most part. That's really all you can ask for in today's pass-happy NFL. You hold a team to under 25, you're most likely going to win the game. I mean, last week we thought the defense was shaky at times, and they held the Vikings to 22 points with, Jetta and Justin Jefferson and, Jordan Addison. So, again, the defense has been playing okay. It's been playing good for the most part. The offense has been struggling, and there's been a lot of drama in the locker room. So, do I find the timing of this signing or the timing of Brandon Graham's return to be just what the doctor ordered? In some ways, yes, and in some ways, no. I don't believe he's going to step in and come onto the field and be the best edge player that we got, be the best run defender on the edge that we have. You know what? Maybe I retract that statement. He might be the best run defender on the edge in Philadelphia at the moment. That's probably one of the only things he's going to be able to do for the Philadelphia Eagles at the moment. And we're going to dive into that and a little bit more. But before we do that, let's introduce you to the show. If you haven't been here before, this is the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. I'm your host, Asif Badi. Dr. Asif Badi, I might add. And like you, I am a Birds fan who talks about the Birds, only the Birds, and nothing but the Philadelphia Eagles. So please do us a favor here. Help us grow this channel organically by shooting this video a thumbs up, commenting your thoughts. Good Lord almighty, it's so late at night. Commenting your thoughts in the comment section below and subscribing to the channel. Also, check us out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leave a 5-star review because in the end, it doesn't cost you a damn thing to go ahead and subscribe. And in this economy, ladies and gentlemen, I won't ask for a penny from any of you. But if you do want to give any money, I do appreciate the donation. We appreciate your support on the opposite side of the camera and on the opposite side of the airwaves. I'll never turn down free money. But again, I'm never going to ask for it from any of you. Anywho, I digress. What does Brandon Graham signing mean for the Philadelphia Eagles? Like I said, leadership in the locker room, bringing in some good vibes. Will he make an impact on the defense, on the field. Because ultimately, when you sign a player or he comes out of retirement and you bring him into your locker room, you're not just bringing him to have a feel-good session here. You're not having him to come back here to bake you a fresh batch of cookies and give you a glass of warm milk with a baby bib. No. This ain't mommy and me. It's the NFL. You bring on the guy because you think the guy can play. Now, to his credit, he has been around the Philadelphia Eagles facility all season long. I think there were some reports out there. I've heard other people talk about how he's basically there 4 out of the 7 days of the week, every week, for the most part. Just being around the facility, being around the players, being around the coaching staff. So I don't think the transition for him to be, integrated in the locker room would take much time. And not only that, I also find that we're playing against the New York Giants and then we have a bye week. I think that's going to be a little bit of that buffer time to get him back into playing shape, to get him used to playing. I mean, you could think of it like this, for example. Since the offseason when he retired and Philadelphia told him, like, hey, we thank you for your time here, but, we're going to move in a different direction. Maybe this was their plan all along, was to save Brandon Graham, have all these signings, and if it worked out for them, it worked out for them, and then bring him on around this time of year anyway. Save his body, give him rest, see what the Young Bucks have, and then you ultimately go on the second half run or the second half of the season with a veteran who you know and trust, who knows your scheme, who knows your system, who knows the city, and is a leader in the locker room and is well respected so that when he does walk in, everybody listens. Brandon Graham can provide that for you, where everybody will listen in the locker room. Everybody's going to acknowledge his presence. He's been a part of all 3 Super Bowls that we have had played in the modern era, and 2 of those have been victories. He's been a part of that. Will he make an impact on the field, though? I don't know. I don't think he's going to be the pass rusher that maybe most people believe he is going to be, or at least what he was over the past 2 or 3 years. Maybe he could play the run. Maybe he could set the edge for Philadelphia, and automatically, just by his presence alone, he's probably going to be the best run defender in Philadelphia on the edges, considering how bad we are on the edges when defending against the run. It's been brutal watching this Philadelphia Eagles unit play the run. I talk about it on X all the time. Every game I watch them, every drive, you see them get gashed with the run. It's remarkable, particularly on the edges. And even with Nolan Smith and Jalen Hunt out there, they're still smaller defenders. They're smaller guys. At least Brandon Graham, you see that guy, he's swole. That's a big boy. You know what I mean? Like, that's what he's a football player. You know what I'm saying? Again, I don't know why I did that, but you get my point. That's a big dude, big time player, big time run defender at the very, very least. And then, in key moments, or at least that he's done so in the past, he can maybe make a play or 2 for you whenever you need it, a key pressure here and there, things like that. Because again, I am not anticipating him to come in and play 50, 60, 75% of the snaps like Zadarius Smith unfortunately had to do, which probably ultimately led him to retiring, among other things. Would Brandon Graham acquisition and maybe a trade deadline acquisition be the thing that the doctor ordered for the defensive edge room? Potentially. If you coupled Brandon Graham with maybe an acquisition like a Jalen Phillips or a Bradley Chubb from Miami, because that is a damn dumpster fire over there, and I am sure they are very, very willing to ship off some players for some draft picks that we have. Or maybe you get Will Johnson from the New York Jets, who are also somehow worse. Every single year of my life, they have somehow found a new way to get worse and worse and worse. So there's a fire sale probably going to happen with the New York Jets. Would Brandon Graham couple with a player like that from either of those teams, or a team that's willing to ship off an edge, be worthwhile? I would say at this point, You try anything to get better on the edge. You try anything to bring some leadership in the locker room because we desperately need it. Because after this week, yes, we won against the Vikings, but prior to that, the sky was falling in Philadelphia. And you needed somebody to kind of just bring some, composure, bring some presence into the locker room. And ultimately, they responded well after the catastrophe that was losing against the New York Giants. But again, Brandon Graham being a Philadelphia Eagle once again is a nice sign for Philadelphia in terms of the locker room. You're bringing him in to get the Young Bucks on track, giving them a voice in the playoffs to particularly listen to. Outside of that, though, I would not be expecting much in terms of the play from Brandon Graham. Like I said, if anything he gives you, maybe a little bit more support against the run, but that's about it. I am not looking for him to give me 5-6 sacks from here till the end of the season. I am not looking for him to give me a high pressure rate or a high mismatch rate when he's on the field. I don't anticipate that. If anything, he's probably going to come in on key downs. He's probably going to come in on pass rushing downs, or maybe at the end of the game when you just need more bodies out there. He is not going to be in these situations where he's going to be starting for a majority of the game. Not what we anticipate. And if he is, for example, and I'll make this my final point, if somehow Brandon Graham comes off the street and is your best defensive edge, you have no defensive edges. We have to make that clear. If he comes in and he's your best defensive edge player in all phases, pass rush, stopping the run, containing the edge, and every now and then dropping back, Philadelphia's got a problem in the edge room. 1,000%. He can't come off the street and be your best edge guy. Like Za'Darius Smith, yeah, great player. He was somehow the best edge player. That was problematic. That can't be the case. Just like it can't be the case when Brandon Graham comes back and puts on the pads once again. While his body might be fresh, it should not be the case that he's going to be your best edge player. And if he is, Philadelphia, you got a big, big problem. So with that, we're glad Brandon Graham is back. We're glad he's able to return home. We love that he's back in the locker room, but don't expect much. At least I'm not. And if he goes out and proves me wrong, I will tip my cap to you, Brandon Graham. I will, because I don't think this is a game that's very easy just to come back in and act like, we can just pick up where we left off. There has to be a little bit of runway here, and that's why they brought him in before the bye week, and they're going to use the second half of the year to prime him for a playoff run. Eagles play chess, not checkers, ladies and gentlemen. This is what they do. But again, the fact that we had to resort to Brandon Graham, while it's a really nice feeling and it's really cool to have him back, it ultimately highlights a bigger problem in Philadelphia when it comes to the edge room and ultimately the locker room. And hopefully this season continues the way it did at the end of last week, where we had the Vikings game on lock. Jalen Hurts looked excellent, and we can carry this momentum going forward as the season goes on for a playoff run, because there's no juggernaut in the NFC. And maybe the Philadelphia Eagles understand that and know that, and maybe Brandon Graham understands and knows that, and he knows that, hey, maybe I can just give this little bit of juice for this locker room to help them lock in a little bit more. And if that's going to ultimately help us win a Lombardi trophy, then you know what? Take my pen, some paper, and sign me up for some Brandon Graham in the locker room. Because ultimately winning the Lombardi trophy in this organization is the ultimate goal. And as a fan, that's what we want to see. We want to see this team play deep into January and even into February, okay? So, Brandon Graham, welcome back. We love you as an Eagle. I'm happy you're back. I will not expect much from you, my friend, with all due respect, okay? And if you end up proving me wrong, God bless your soul, man. That's all I got for today. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Brandon Graham's return to the Philadelphia Eagles, and we will see you back here next time at the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. Hey, thank you so much for watching the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. If you want to continue to support the channel, please hit the like and subscribe button down below. Also, check us out on Instagram and TikTok at Riding the Bench Eagles Pod. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're on there. Thank you so much for listening, and please join us next time here at the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast.